Castro, the brother of Fidel Castro, has now been indicted by the U.S. government. What does this mean for Cuba? Answer's simple. The Venezuela model is going to go into full effect, and Cuba will fall. Mark my words. Let's get into the indictment and all the details that you need to know.
Today, we are announcing an indictment charging Raul Castro and several others with conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals.
Now, keep in mind, this announcement is being made in Miami. Obviously, there's a number of exiled Cubans that are in the audience.
Mr. Castro and the others are charged with additional crimes as well, including destruction of aircraft and 4 individual counts of murder. The indictment was returned by a grand jury sitting in this district in Miami on April 23rd, 2026, and was unsealed today. For nearly 30 years, the families of 4 murdered Americans have waited for justice. On February, this is a story all too familiar. On February 24th, 1996, 2 civilian aircraft operated by Brothers to the Rescue were shot down over international waters by military aircraft from Cuba. 4 men were killed: Carlos Costa, Armando Alejandro Jr., Mario de la Peña, and Pablo Morales. They were unarmed civilians and were flying humanitarian missions for the rescue and protection of people fleeing oppression across the Florida Straits. As alleged in the indictment, Raul Castro and 5 co-defendants participated in a conspiracy that ended with Cuban military aircraft firing missiles at those civilian planes and killing 4 Americans. Those are the allegations returned by a federal grand jury. My message today is clear. The United States and President Trump does not and will not forget its citizens.
So there you have it. The brother of now deceased and ex-leader of Cuba, dictator of Cuba, Fidel Castro, well, his brother, Raul, is now indicted. So where does this go and why now? I think the answer's right in front of us. The down road doctrine, Donald Trump's mentality on controlling the hemisphere that the United States is within, is directly pointed at why this is happening. It also answers why he went after Maduro in Venezuela. The truth of the matter is that Panama, specifically the Panama Canal, Venezuela and Cuba, amongst other countries within the Central and Southern American hemisphere, have been used by our biggest adversaries, both China and Russia. They've been used to gain access, to get strategic resources, and most importantly, geographic proximity to the United States, allowing them to get much too close and allowing them to have control over whole countries that are much too close to the United States government. I think part of the answer has also come from Marco Rubio. This is where he did an interview just about 3 weeks ago, where he outlines exactly why Donald Trump and the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, have Cuba in its sights.
The thing is, it can get better. But in order for it to get better, they do need very substantial and serious economic reforms. Those serious economic reforms are impossible with these people in charge. It can't happen. And these people in charge aren't just economically incompetent. They have rolled out the welcome mat to adversaries of the United States to operate within Cuban territory against our national interest, with impunity. We are not going to have a foreign military or intelligence or security apparatus operating with impunity 90 miles off the shores of the United States. That's not going to happen under President Trump.
So again, both China and Russia have gained access. They've done so since the Kennedy administration in the 60s and before to Cuba. They've also decimated the Cuban country. We can all agree, and I think many of us know and are familiar and friendly with a number of Cuban Americans that are exiled from the country. Their beautiful culture, a beautiful people, a people that are loyal, and they are also in dire need, especially those that are on the island, for economic, diplomatic, and humanitarian relief. The word on the street is that 6 weeks ago, the very last oil and gas shipment was made to Cuba. They've been under mandatory blackouts. They've been having protests in the streets. The shambled government of the Castro dictatorial regime is on its last legs. And now with Raul Castro being indicted, you know where this is going to go. And I can tell you, it's going to go quickly. Cuba has nothing as far as any military might or any support of the people. This is a dictatorial regime that has flattened a beautiful people, a wonderful culture, and a culture that just wants to be free. So this indictment will lead to extreme economic pressure and extreme military pressure. We just saw, incidentally, I don't know if you noticed this, just late last week, a false flag. It was just the deep state trying to get some crap out into the news, saying that Cuba's been buying drones and that they plan to target Key West. That's not true at all. That's ridiculous, and that's ultimately just somebody within a 3-letter agency not getting their way with the timing and the strategy of how this is going to go down. So when is this going to go down, and how are we going to get our hands on Raul Castro? That's yet to be determined, but I can assure you it will be quick. It will be swift, and the Cuban people, both in this country, America, and within the borders of Cuba, will be grateful to Donald Trump for doing it. So if you like videos like this, please do us a favor, like this video, drop a comment down below. It tells the algorithm to send this video out to more people, just like you and me, so that we can get the truth out about what the Monroe Doctrine is, and specifically this news on Cuba, but we cover all of the breaking topics that are important for conservative Americans. If you've yet, though, to subscribe to the channel, you can do so just over my left shoulder here. We made it easy for you. Just click my face. That's the subscribe button. We also have 2 other videos that we think you might be interested in. Pick your favorite, and we'll see you in the next video.